Texans. Stroud has had a historic start to his NFL career. He's thrown for over 900 yards with 4 touchdowns and hasn't thrown a single interception. Stroud, the first quarterback in NFL history to have 900 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in his first 3 career starts. It's been really fun to watch. And Dan, what have you seen from C.J. Stroud?
He's the best in the pocket mover since Joe Burrow came into the NFL as a rookie.
Wow.
The operational space. We knew he was the best pocket passer. Look at this pocket movement and the subtlety in it. So first of all, the motion comes. He almost gets run into. So just navigating that and not fumbling the football is a huge deal. That's play action. He's got to move immediately. When he gets to that play action, he's got to out route up top and in route in the bottom. So he's trying to see the middle of the field, like who's where, okay? And as he comes off of number 1 and gets to number 2, he's got a ton of space that he's got to manipulate to find that check down. That might be a small deal. That's a big deal to me. This is my favorite play, though. He's going to pull the backside guard and have the guy on his left come across as a play action protector. You're trying to influence those linebackers, okay, to get this ball to the middle of the field to Nico Collins on an in route. He's had a ton of success doing that. Now, as he goes to that play fake, pay attention to his base, okay? Robert Woods at top is number 2 in the progression. He's got a deep out. He sees that those backers didn't buy it. The in route is not there to Nico Collins. Watch his feet now. His feet never come together. He's got a subtlety, just quickly 6 inches move away from that internal pressure. Now get the ball out on time, and look at that freaking throw from C.J. Stroud. So, you know, that's what makes Joe Burrow so special, or like one of the most important things. He's the best, C.J., when it comes to, since Joe came into the NFL, that subtle, sudden pocket movement that takes me from here to there in very little wasted time. To watch him do that against a pretty good Jacksonville defense and throw it the way he threw it, oof, it's pretty, man.
I mean, their offense is of that Shanahan tree. Like, they run that style of offense.
Yeah.
And what makes
Bobby Slowick,
play
caller.
C.J. Stroud, his number 1 receiver is the open receiver. And that's the most important aspect of that. And then you look at the receivers he has and how he is spreading the ball out. You need 3 kind of receivers in this offense. Number 1, you need an up-top threat. That's Tank Dell. You put it up top, he is going to make sure you stretch the defense. Number 2, you need a guy who can move the sticks. And that's what Robert Woods does. If you need a guy on 3rd and 5, can he run a slant and get a first down? Can he run a stop and just beat a guy man-to-man and make sure you catch the football? And then you look at how they use Nico Collins. He's a versatile guy. He can go short. He can go long. He's a volume guy. Like, he's the one that's running the routes. And again, this is a young team, but they are playing like veterans.
Real quick, you said his number 1 receiver is the open guy. Explain that to me in your, like, what do you mean by that?
Because it's so easy for young quarterbacks to just lock onto a guy that they think is going to help them get an easy reception or force it to certain areas. You can look at C.J. Stroud and the way he plays. He is reading.
Getting through the
progression. He is processing.
Okay.
If it's the running back, he gets it. If it's the tight end, he gets it. If it's Nico, if it's Tank. And, again, for a young quarterback, him processing like that, it sets the pace for the whole offense. He put on a clinic
when it came through getting through progressions.
Absolutely.
Were you the Nico versatile role when you played in that type of offense?
I kind of jumped around. We actually had Josh Gordon, then he got suspended, so I had to go into like the number 1 receiver. I did. I was the number 1 receiver in the league, Dan.
Let's go.
I have no doubts about
2014, led the Browns in receiving.
I got no doubts.
Just, I know you're looking at me crazy because I'm under 5'10",
Give him his flowers.
Dan.
No.
Love, bro.
Get it done. Swag, what are you seeing with this defense, though?
The defense, offense, I like the conversation that D.O. and Hawk just had about C.J. Stroud, but it's the young talent for me on this football team. When you think about all of the things that they've been able to accomplish, and this is not going to be about wins for the Houston Texans. This is going to be about a progression every single week. And when you think about them taking all of these young guys in the draft and obviously trading up for Will Anderson, taking C.J. Stroud early. Don't forget a guy that y'all didn't mention on the offensive side, John Mechie, was considered a high-level receiver and a guy that could potentially turn into a number 1. C.J. walked in, too, with a really good offensive line. Remember, Damian Pierce was almost a 1,000-yard rusher last year on this football team. Houston played teams tough. And this organization coming out of what we would call turmoil. This was not a place that was looked on well. And when they hired DeMeco Ryans, I said, this may be a move to kind of set a different standard and a different trend. And I go back to what I saw them like in the locker room after the win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is a culture shift. Those are the type of things that matter. And when you got young players, like he said in that presser and like he was opening up, the ability to continue to build their confidence and let them know that they are working the right way in order to try to become better players, it's going to go a long way for this football team. And the other thing is this. They are going to be a tough out week in and week out because D'Amico Ryans is that guy. He was that guy when he played, and he's going to have that same mentality, and his team is going to play with that same mentality. I'm happy for the Houston Texans, man, especially these young players, to have him as a head coach.
Great hire with D'Amico Ryans. The other thing, too, Dan brought this up. We got to let it go, but Dan brought this up earlier today. May end up being one of the best, if not the best, draft class of this past draft when you look at what the Texans have done.
No doubt.
We'll see. It's still early, but.